As we grow older, something quietly changes inside us. The hustle fades, the noise dims, and the crowd no longer pulls at our hearts like it once did. Many seniors find themselves preferring solitude, even feeling relief in silence. But have you ever wondered why that happens? Is it loneliness, or could it be wisdom? Today, we explore 5 powerful psychological reasons why older adults start avoiding people and why this often brings more peace, not pain. 1. Emotional simplicity becomes a priority to 12 minutes. Visual, elderly woman sipping tea alone on a balcony, looking calm. In our younger years, we tolerate a lot gossip, drama, obligations. But with age comes a deep inner shift. We no longer crave complexity. We begin to value simplicity, not just in material things, but in emotions too. Older adults often say, "I just want peace." It's not that they hate others, it's that they no longer wish to carry the weight of everyone else's emotional storms. They've carried their children, their families, their careers. Now, they finally give themselves permission to set that weight down. This emotional clarity leads to selective socializing. They choose calm over chaos, a quiet evening over forced conversation. And this isn't sadness, it's wisdom earned over a lifetime. They've realized, not every person brings light into your life. Some bring confusion, and that's a price they no longer wish to pay. 2. You've learned the value of time to 12 minutes. Visual, a clock ticking in slow motion, flashbacks of family, birthdays, goodbyes. Narrator, when you're young, you think you have forever. But after 60, the concept of time changes. You start asking, how many meaningful years do I have left? This question reshapes everything. You become more aware of how you spend your hours and with whom. Older people stop spending time with energy drainers. They avoid shallow friendships, gossip circles, and empty chatter. They choose to invest their limited time in things that truly matter: books, nature, a loving pet, memories with grandchildren. This is not avoidance, it's self-respect. It's a realization that life is too short for people who don't value you or add meaning to your journey. 3. Peace feels more nourishing than noise to 12 minutes. Visual, an elderly couple sitting quietly near a lake, holding hands without talking. In youth, noise feels like life parties, crowds, friends, events. But with age, we begin to understand that peace is the true luxury. As the nervous system ages, loud environments, overstimulation, and constant engagement become exhausting. Older adults feel drained by noise, both external and emotional. They begin to protect their inner calm. They discover joy in soft music, meaningful silence, the rustling of trees. This isn't isolation, it's alignment with one's deeper self, a form of self-therapy. They've spent decades adapting to others, now they're finally listening to themselves. And they discover, the most healing sounds are often found in stillness. 4. Your identity is no longer tied to social validation minus 12 minutes. Narrator, in earlier stages of life, we care deeply about what others think. We seek approval, applause, connection. But after 60, something magical happens. You stop living for others. You stop explaining yourself. You become comfortable with who you are, flaws, scars, and all. This inner acceptance reduces the need for external company. You no longer attend every invitation. You decline gatherings without guilt. You stop pretending to enjoy company that doesn't respect your spirit. You realize, it's not loneliness if you're in good company with yourself. Older adults become their own best friends. They've outgrown the need for crowds. Validation becomes internal. And in that, they find profound freedom. 5. Life teaches you to love selectively to 12 minutes. Visual, an old scrapbook being flipped through pictures of loved ones, some gone, some smiling. Narrator, by the time you're in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, you've seen people come and go. Some relationships ended naturally, others broke your heart. But through it all, you learned something precious: love must be intentional. You no longer have space for shallow connections. Instead, you focus on the few who matter, the ones who stayed. The ones who call not just when they need something, but when they. 6. The weight of conversations, choosing depth over noise. As people age, conversations shift. They're no longer about trends, gossip, or surface-level chatter. Seniors begin to crave meaningful exchanges, talks that nourish the soul, not just pastime. But meaningful conversations are rare in a world flooded with distractions. Many older adults find that when they engage in social settings, the conversations feel empty. The noise becomes overwhelming, not in volume, but in emotional disconnect. So, they step away not out of bitterness, but out of a desire for peace and sincerity. Psychologically, this reflects a shift in cognitive focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. Older brains are wired to seek deeper emotional regulation, not external social excitement. Choosing solitude or selective company becomes a way of preserving emotional energy, not losing it. Visual prompt: elderly woman sipping tea alone by the window, smiling peacefully as children play outside, soft piano music in the background. 7. You become more aware of time and guard it fiercely. In youth, time feels infinite. We waste it freely, thinking we have decades to spare. But after 60, every hour becomes more precious. Older adults begin to recognize that time spent with the wrong people is more than a waste, it's a theft. Toxic relationships, one-sided friendships, or draining social obligations are no longer acceptable. Instead, they become protectors of their own hours. They learn to say no without guilt. They walk away from energy vampires. They cherish alone time because it's the only moment that feels truly theirs. Emotionally, this is part of what's called temporal recalibration, a psychological response to aging, where people prioritize time efficiency and emotional satisfaction over social obligation. Visual prompt: a senior marking a calendar and journaling. Today, I chose peace over the emotional cost. Gentle classical music plays. When you're younger, pretending is part of survival. Pretending to like your job, your peers, your boss, your partner's friends. But with age, the mask gets heavier. Seniors often express that they simply don't have the energy or the need to pretend anymore. They no longer feel the pressure to fit into roles or social circles that require performance. They value authenticity over acceptance. So, they walk away from gatherings, friendships, or environments where they can't be their full, flawed, beautiful selves. Social psychologists refer to this as selective authenticity, a natural filter older adults develop to avoid emotional exhaustion. Visual prompt: a montage showing a senior removing a literal theatrical mask, walking into a sunlit room where they can breathe freely. 9. Life's losses reshape your priorities. By the time one reaches their late 60s or 70s, they've likely faced personal loss: parents, partners, friends. Grief becomes a quiet companion, and with it comes clarity. Many seniors reflect that death teaches them who truly matters and who never did. It sharpens the lens through which they view connection. Suddenly, social status, family drama, or petty fights seem laughably small. Many withdraw not because they're lonely, but because they've grown wise enough to know who's worth the remaining chapters. Emotionally, this is the result of grief-filtered clarity, a term used to describe how bereavement enhances values-based decision-making in older adults. Visual prompt: an elderly man standing before old photographs, lighting a candle for lost loved ones, then gently turning off his phone and sitting in silence. 10. Inner peace becomes a non-negotiable. In later years, the chase ends: the chase for approval, attention, validation, or social buzz. Older adults begin to seek one thing above all else: inner peace. That peace doesn't always live at dinner parties or social clubs. It often lives in morning walks, bird songs, books, gardens, and quiet evenings. Avoiding people isn't about misanthropy, it's about creating space for reflection, prayer, creativity, and stillness. And once that peace is discovered, it's fiercely protected. Spiritually, this reflects a deep shift toward self-transcendence, a concept explored by Viktor Frankl and later psychologists that shows how aging adults move toward meaning and harmony. Visual prompt: a senior meditating alone in a forest or by the ocean, soft wind rustling through leaves, sunlight kissing their skin.